Hey guys, it's Abi from Pellinor, and today we are looking at my April wrap-up. What the fuck month was it? Probably should have checked that before I started. We're looking at my April wrap-up. So this month has been an interesting one for me reading-wise. It started out really great, I had a really strong beginning to the month, and it has petered out just a little bit as we're coming to the end. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen I've not been reading at all. So I'll just kind of start and just we'll address things as we come to the end as to whether I've read them or not. So I've just realised I didn't go and get War and Peace. Got it. Coming in at 513 pages, we have The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is a book where when I was having a really good reading month last month, I was like, oh, vote for... That's my partner, shush. Vote for the book that I'm going to read next. Like, tell me what to read, tell me which one to pick up, and you guys voted for this, and then I didn't have time for it last month, so of course I had to put it in this month. The vote was done over on my Instagram, if you're curious. Links are always down below. This is a thriller with a slight fantastical twist of the fact that the days keep repeating themselves. Every single day, our main character goes back to the very beginning of the day in the body of a different host, and he's trying to solve the murder. It's very much an Agatha Christie style. I think that Turton was intending to do that. It says in the little like acknowledgement bit at the end of the book that he's trying to imitate Agatha Christie. I think he did great. I think he did a fantastic job in doing that, and because of that I only gave it 4 stars. I adore Agatha Christie books. Like, whenever I read them, I fly through them. I read this in one day. This is 513 pages. I read it in one day. I couldn't put it down. But it only gets 4 stars. But that's exactly what I do to all the Agatha Christie books. So, I guess it's a win for Turton. I don't know. The only thing I wasn't so keen on, not to give any spoilers, but I wasn't so keen on the end and the way that that played out specifically. I much preferred the rest of the book. The ending was a little bit of a letdown for me, but this was a great book overall. I'm very glad I read it. I knew I was going to love it. I'd hoped it was going to be 5 stars, but not quite. Next up at 152 pages is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is the first of the novellas in the Murderbot series. This was gifted to me by the wonderful Veronica. Thank you so much again. Her channel is linked down below. This is a short sci-fi book. Why am I specifying it short? You can see. It's a sci-fi book that follows a automated, like, half flesh, half mechanic robot who is sent on missions as kind of like security combined with assistance combined with like a monitor for people who are doing these missions to different planets. And, well, they're not actually called Murderbots. This one decided to call itself Murderbot, and we follow Murderbot throughout their time on this planet with this group of people. I loved this so much. I can't remember what rating I gave it on Corepile, but it's either 4 or 5 stars. It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was so short. I didn't quite get everything that I wanted from it. However, it's only 150 odd pages, and there are other books in the series, so it was very much just like, this is the first book in the series and I need more. I definitely am going to have to buy the rest of these ones. This was fantastic. Thank you so much, Veronica, for actually making me read this, because I'm so glad I did. This was amazing. Then at 323 pages, another amazing book. Like I said, I had a great start to the month, which is Slay by Brittany Morris. This is a contemporary contemporary set slightly in our future. So it's essentially our world, but VR is a lot more commonplace. You can go and buy like secondhand like gloves and headsets in charity shops and things like that. So it's like in the very near future, and we follow a young black girl, I think 17, who is in the high school in the US, and she is the creator of this massive black-only online video game. And it's about kind of what happens when a murder is linked to that video game. Somebody gets murdered over the in-game currency, and how that then impacts on her, how she feels about it, and also how the people in her life react to the existence of Slay, which is the name of this online video game. I was hesitant about this one. So it's about a video game, and I was like, cool, tend to like that. Liked Ready Player One, and I enjoyed specifically the gaming aspects, so that should be good. But it's also a just contemporary US based fiction, and while those are okay, I don't tend to like fall in love with them. I fell in love with this. It was amazing. It was fantastic. It's the writing is just beautiful. I love the relationship between the sisters. I think that there is a relationship in here that is done very, very well. I felt the correct feelings very early on, and I was like, you're just being silly. No, I was not being silly. It's just, this is amazing. This was gifted to me by Carrie. Her channel's linked below. Thank you so much, Carrie, because although this sounded really interesting to me, I never would have picked it up because it's too in that contemporary bracket for my own reading tastes. But damn is it good. It's, if you don't like contemporary, but like you've maybe read the occasional one or two and you've been like, you know what, I wouldn't read the genre, but that was amazing, pick it up, because I've heard so many other people say the same thing where they don't like YA contemporary but that they've really enjoyed this. So if it sounds interesting, I promise, give it a go. Then coming in at 408 pages is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. So this was gifted to me by my best friend Georgia. She doesn't have a channel, but if I can find her art stuff, I'll link that below. And this was given to me a while ago. A long while ago. I'm sorry. And I tried to read it using audiobook. I got the audiobook of it as well, tried to listen to it. I got 40 pages in and it was the most boring thing I'd ever read in my life. But I needed to read this for the Buzzwordathon. Stars. So I was like, right, well, I don't have a choice. You need to read, this is the only book I have that works, so you're gonna have to read it. It was amazing. Every single one of these books, yes, every single one of these books, and the next one I'm gonna mention, I read in one day. Every single one of them in one day. I started them, I read them, I finished them. This was no different. I adored this. This is a historical fiction. This follows a young English woman who has been married to a young, rich American bloke and is now living in the US. Don't ask me where. That is, Kentucky. Apparently. I don't know. Just generic US is what happened in my head. Basically, we do for the US what you guys do with Europe. So, but yes, so she goes to live in the US. Things aren't as they seem. She had been really in love with her husband when they were in England and in Europe, but then things seem to peter out. He won't pay attention to her. He is ignoring her completely and she doesn't understand why. And her father-in-law is a massive knob, really sexist, all of that. And she ends up volunteering to sign up for this library where they go around on horseback, go to the rural areas and say, here, we've got books you can read for free, do you want any? And this is like really controversial because it's like, well, what are you doing? You don't know the area. This is like supposed to be people who are local to the area to encourage these people to join in. But she's like, well, I really want to do it. I want to do something. So she does. And it changes the course of her life completely. This is very much just a standard history, like historical fiction. There's no fantastical elements, there's nothing sci-fi about it, but it was amazing. It's beautiful. The writing is gorgeous. I loved the dynamics between all of the different characters, the character development across time, all of the plot points, but I really enjoyed this one. I'm pretty sure I gave it 4 stars. Then, the last book that I read all in one go, which comes in at 395 pages, and that is The Faceless Ones by Skulduggery Pleasant. This is book 3 in the series. Just to very basically recap the series, because I mention it a lot, the first book is like an 11-year-old girl in Ireland who discovers there is magic and goes around solving crime issues with a skeleton detective. It's great, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm reading them all, one a month, with the Dead Famous read-along. I was supposed to read this with Becca. We were gonna buddy read it, and I was like, yeah, let's buddy read it. We can talk about each chapter, and then I just finished it, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but it's done. So that went really well. I'm sorry, Becca. Maybe we can try with Dark Days. But I just read this, it was great. I love the series, you guys know I love the series. And then that is slightly where I hit my roadblock. So these are all the books that, as of filming on the 27th of April, I keep forgetting what month it is, these are all the books that I've read as of filming. I am currently in the middle of some others, so let's discuss those. Let's discuss the one that definitely isn't a failure. So, War and Peace how am I doing with it? Well, I don't know how many pages because I haven't counted. Editing Abby will put the total in here. But we're doing good. I missed my first day. I've missed my first day where I didn't read it for one day. But I caught up. It's fine. I caught up. I just read that the next day along with the next day's chapters. But yes, we're still really enjoying this. We are both at the minute discussing the fact that like it's called War and Peace, but like ever since about here it's just been peace, which we're not mad about because we didn't like the war chapters, but like, okay. But hey, we're enjoying the character development. We very much have favourites. We very much have things that we want to happen. All in all, this is going great. Then, this bad boy. The camera cut off, can you tell? I'd already filmed this bit. Skulduggery Pleasant, Better Alive. I am 203 pages into it. There are 597 pages in total. I haven't picked this up since the 16th. It's the 27th. I'm in a massive reading slump. But the thing is, if I manage to get out of the reading slump, if I manage to read, I will finish this. Like, I read so quickly through Skulduggery Pleasant that it won't be an issue. So I just need to finish it. So I'm going to, as of filming, put it as if I finished it, but the total like page count will say whether or not I did manage to read the 597 pages of this book. But as of filming I have read 203, so not bad. Editing Abby, I just finished it just now, so 11:15 at night. The fuck. I obviously can't say anything because it's book 14, so spoilers. But fuck! And that is all I have to say on the matter. And then now on to the even worse failures. Are you ready for this? So, from my TBR jar for this month, I picked a revision course in geography by Thomas Pickles. This was a mistake to have in the jar. I tried to read through this. I've genuinely, guys, I've really tried, but this is a textbook. Like, it's an actual A-level, 16 to 18 non-compulsory study. That level. Like, in the US, like, college, the first couple of years of college, UK, A-level, well, England and Wales, A-level, Scotland, Highers, US, college, Germany, Abitur. I don't know anywhere else. Please make your own draws from the examples I've given. But that's the level that this is, and it's a textbook. So no, I haven't read it. It was a mistake to have it in the jar. I'm not going to try and read it. I am going to leave it. It's fine. This was a failure. There is no penalty for that for me, especially not when it was a failure because it's a textbook and I had a slump. That's fine. So yeah, I read like, where was I up to? Come on, show me. I read 37 pages. And then the other failure there is I wanted to read 20 sections of Fall of Giants by Ken Follett. I didn't. I read 1 or 2 and then I didn't want to read anymore. This is a tough book to read. Not tough, but like it's a big book. It's an intimidating book to read anyway. When I'm in a slump, no. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of write that off as a failure and not put it on my TBR for next month. So I will pick it back up again at some point, maybe when I'm more motivated, but right now, this is done. Editing Abby one last time. So I actually ended up reading another book. Don't ask, don't question me. It was a field guide to the wildlife of the British Isles, which is by Alice Tomsett. I was reorganising my shelves, I saw it, the pages are like not exactly very full, and I just kind of read it. I didn't read the entire thing, so I've read 179 pages worth for my page count. This end section that I've blocked off has fish in it, and I have a phobia of fish, and I'm also not great with bugs, so when it started to freak me out I just stopped. But that's the perk of counting pages. I will never look at those ones, ever. And to me, it's done. I've read it. So it was, yeah, it's interesting. Good to know a little bit more about our native wildlife. Back to your regularly scheduled viewing. And this is what I managed to read in April. Well, hopefully. I should be fine. I should be fine. So let me know if you guys have read any of these yourselves and what you think of them. I gave 4 or 5 stars to all of these, and if I don't give that to Dead or Alive, I will be incredibly surprised. So far it is one of my favourite in phase 2 of the series. So yeah, I really recommend all of the books that I've read here. They were a lot of fun, even if I've not been reading a lot lately. Let me know down in the comments below what was your favourite book of April, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!